Hey Lighthouses, got a new book. Woo! I'm one happy lady doing my housework, so don't judge. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about this book, The Lost Ways, 4th edition now by Claude Davis. Claude, you can get this on thelostways.com. And let's go over the contents. So we have disclaimer, of course. And now when you go on the website, it's amazing because not only does he have this book, but he has several other books. This is general, and then the other books are specific, like ammunition. He also has theprepper.com, Ask a Prepper. And he sends me a lot of emails. Yet I made a file. They're very valuable. So, total treasure. I treasure these books and knowledge. So let's go on the other side of the veil, my lighthouses. Okay, so he goes over a most important thing, how early pioneers built the self-feeding fire, what you'll need, how to build the self-feeding fire quickly, tips, the survival food of the U.S. Civil War, how to make hardtack biscuits. Now please buy non-GMO, everything non-GMO. You have to be really, really, really careful, you know. Tips, okay, so he has the ingredients, the hardware, lost pioneer recipes from the 18th century, and then here's a bunch of recipes. My favorite, more recipes, and from what I understand, the people that had during the Great Depression, his family survived the Great Depression and gave kept journals, and this is the treasure that from those journals, and they had those cattails, and he has a lot of cattail industry or recipes. So if you have cattails in your neck of the woods, then awesome, because he has a lot of recipes in here for that. Making sourdough bread and traditional and survival bark bread from bark. And also on Etsy, you can go online, get on Etsy and get these cheese, how to make your own cheese, how to make your own bread, sourdough bread, yogurt. There's where I left off. Okay, so how to make sourdough starter, how to make tasty bread like in 1869, making bark bread, famine bread, trapping in winter for beaver and muskrat, just like our forefathers did. Okay, so I'm vegetarian, so that wouldn't apply to me. Then he goes over the land trails, how to set up trails, tanning. Oh, not the same as a Southern California tan. How our ancestors made herbal poultice to heal their wounds. My favorite. What is poultice? He explains that. A few poultice recipes. And then he has one for Cataplasma aromaticum, soothing poultice for stomach aches, a mustard poultice, a Native American recipe to treat an abscess, a word of warning from the past. And also the sap from a pine tree is amber. And the Indians used amber they would wear amber beads to eliminate the achy, sore bones, and arthritis. And for the babies teething, they can chew on the beads and it will help with the decreased pain, hopefully eliminate. Creating the ideal conditions, and it goes over climate, what to keep where, humidity, dirt floors, wet cloth or paper, lighting, standing water, bury your treasure, a condensation nightmare, ventilation, storage ideas, and garden storage installation, things that do and do not belong in your root cellar, proper storage, cull the crops, preparing vegetables for root cellar storage, curing winter vegetables for storage, pests, organization, good old-fashioned cooking on an open flame. Throw some hickory chips in there. Then cast iron cooking, my favorite. And the great thing about cast irons, because that's the same iron we have in our blood. So especially for young women who get a little low on iron, you can make some eggs or anything on a cast iron. I even see people bake with them. And that same iron will go into your food and you eat that, and then it'll go into your blood and bring up your iron levels. So he has the care and use seasoning for your cookery, never use dish soap, iron rust, no fire, companion tools, roasting meats on a spit, on a string, nice, Dutch oven cooking, the right temperature, companion tools, recipes, and of past and future. And then there's a list of that. How our ancestors navigated without using GPS system, shadow tip method, watch methods, using the stars, letting the sun guide you, letting the moon guide you at night, moss and other vegetation, and how to make a compass, making our own beverages, beer, and stronger stuff, making, okay, so it goes over the equipment, the ingredients, creating a malt, making the geese, a word on hops. Now I know hops is very healing. People who, well, there was this gentleman, he was a veteran, or he's a veteran, and the doctor was saying that he had a tumor in his lung and wanted to remove his lung, and he said, no way, I need it. And his friend said, hops. He puts, I got some at Whole Foods, and I put it in my coffee, and he took every day like clockwork, and his tumor went away, and his lung is still there and working just fine. So yeah, he made a video on that, and it's nice. I'm glad he shared that. So if you know any information or healing tips you want to share with us, let us know. Definitely, like, put on start your own videos, or book, or blog, or journal. A bit of stronger stuff, distilling your own moonshine. Oh, and I also want to mention, somebody mentioned in the comments that thyme is also really good antibiotic, like oregano and basil. And the good thing about thyme is that if you boil that and put a towel over your head and you take some deep breaths, that will help with your breathing. It'll open up your bronchioles. Good stuff. And okay, so it goes over more distilling your own moonshine. Sailors, I wonder what he says about that, because I'm a Navy vet. Let's see, 206. Let's see what he says. And my dad was a Navy SEAL. My ex-husband graduated from Naval Academy, so let's compare some notes. 205, 206. Okay, sailors were famous consumers of alcohol of all kinds. Oh, the drunken sailor, that was like the label, I guess. And beer was a daily part of their diet. Voyage on sailing ships could last for a very long time. From England, it took 5 weeks to cross the Atlantic, 3 months to India, and 4 months to Australia or China. A cask of water might start the journey clear and fresh, but after weeks it would be streaked with green slime and infested with bacteria and parasites. That is really gross. Water was also carried by the sailors, mostly used it for cooking. Okay, so there were always ways they used to preserve water that you will find later on. When they wanted to drink, most of the time they opted for beer. Kegs of beer stayed fresh much longer than water. The name of the popular IPA style is Indian Pale Ale. And it was specifically brewed to survive the long voyage from England to India without spoiling. And then it goes a little bit more into that history, which you might find interesting. Now, one thing I know is that scurvy was an issue with the sailors, and they found out it was a lack of vitamin C. So eating more citrus, I know, is very important to your body. We just need balance. We need to focus on balance. Everything needs balance. We need to be emotionally balanced. We need to be spiritually balanced. We need to be physically homeostasis, environmentally have an equilibrium. Everything just needs to be in harmony. My little puck's asleep here on my laps. Too cute. Okay, so where we left off was... So let's go over, okay, so it goes over like firearms and mentions that, hey, a 22 isn't bad, you know, you can, it does its job. And the, let's face it, you've got metal, and then you have like the parts that you need to use what the metal's for without, you know, using the words, that he explains also are good for stacking up on a 22. How they make gunpowder and guide to rolling your own ammo, modern firearms, handguns, rifles, ammunition, reloading components. Then he goes into those bullets, casting bullets, powder, how to make your gunpowder an old-fashioned way, primers, and reloading equipment, storage of ammunition and components, how much ammunition is needed. And then he goes on recycling and working practices. Spycraft, military correspondence during 1700s and 1900s. Now like a night vision drone, I'm sure is helpful. They didn't have that during the Great Depression yet. Useful today. How our forefathers made knives, forging a knife blade, forging the blade, forging the tang, grinding the blade, hardening the blade, making the handle, how to make your own knife, how Northern California American Indians build their semi-subterranean roundhouses, building a semi-subterranean roundhouse, how and why I prefer to make soap and modern ingredients, history and modern ingredients, understanding the process, irreplaceable ingredients, machinery and equipment for making soap at home. So how do you make soap? Temporarily installing a wood-burning stove during emergencies. Why a wood-burning stove? Temporarily installing your wood-burning stove. Temporarily installing the chimney, heating the wood. Practical survival lessons from the Donner Party. The story, and then it goes on to that, and then the survival lessons that they've learned. Learning from our ancestors how to take care of our hygiene when there isn't anything to buy. Soap making. I just read that. We got more. Let's see here. Homemade toothpaste. Please no fluoride. That is rat poison. Look up that long word. I did. It's and the history of it during World War II. It's not good. How our forefathers made snowshoes for survival. Anatomy of snowshoe, making survival snowshoes. Using your snowshoes, how our forefathers built the sawmills, grain mills, and stamping mills. How the overshot wheel works, making the force unusable, gears, belts, and reciprocating saws. Don't forget lubrication, building your own water wheel. Okay, awesome. So that's the rundown of the contents, and then he has like pictures in here, like he's showing you cooking with the cast iron. And this right here, he's talking about a fibrous plant. Never use dish soap. And he talks about this fibrous plant that you could use. And said, oh, the horsetail. Okay, so the settlers used wads of horsetail to scrub their pots and pans. This highly fibrous plant works well and can be found abundantly in damp places. In this day, the disinfectants and and germ phobia, it may seem counterintuitive to not use soap, but trust me, the temperatures needed to cook your meals are hot enough to kill potential germs, and a well-seasoned cast iron surface should be easy enough to clean without soap. Okay, and so he goes over all these parts of the content that I just named, and then there's like he puts pictures in here too. So awesome. thelostways.com. I think you're gonna really like his website too, that he sends you information on. So, all right, lights, you guys have a great day. Spring's in the air. God bless.